Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get January 9th, 2023 planning and zoning meeting started. So we'll call the meeting to order. Could I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
We need a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Matt Young, Commission Chair. And Don Bergfeld, Mike Ackerman,
Yeah, that's right.
Shelley Nelson, and Wes Running. Then we would like to get.
Then you should move to the, yep.
Approve the agenda. I'll second. All in favor? Aye. All right, next we'll move on to the minutes from our October 24th, 2022 planning and zoning meeting. Does anyone have any suggested changes or did that look okay?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we'll look at the rezone request for parcel that's located at the corner of Thunder Hills, Highway 20.
So the four parcels that we're looking at, which one? Are right along Highway 20. So it's going to be this first parcel here, and then the second, third, and fourth. So these are the ones that are in discussion tonight for the rezoning.
So the request would be to move the zoning from the current existing agriculture A1 to C1 commercial.
Correct.
Yes. Big question, reasoning why. I know AY, maybe we should jump to C before we do B. Discussion on AY.
Sure. And
What's, I mean. Purpose, I guess.
Jim, would you like to take this or would you like me to discuss it?
Go ahead.
Okay, as you well know, I'll borrow that again. There's 4 sections here that the state of Iowa has designated as a preservation. And for a future interchange, if they so plan on doing that. So in order to get them to make the decision to move forward on that or say no, we have to have a zoning change. So in order to get them moving on, and they have 30 days to make up their mind. So in order for them to get going on this, there has to be something in writing that says there is a zoning change taking place on these parcels here, one of which is part of that preservation corridor. So that's the reasoning to do the A1 to the C1 at this time. If A1, and we'll get to that discussion next, if they decide that Piasta is their forever home, then it will obviously have to be rezoned at that time. But the purpose of the rezoning right now is just to get DOT's attention. Does that help?
Okay, yeah.
So you have to do the other 3 or just that one to get the DOT's attention?
We could do just one, but if they come back and say, no, they don't want to, and AY falls through on it, you know, it can still be a C1. But if the state of Iowa, if they come back, it's my understanding that they are going to have to purchase all of those properties. So it would be in our best interest to go ahead and rezone them all at this time.
You're saying the state would have to buy some of all of them?
I believe, Jim, is that correct? Have to buy all 4 parcels?
Correct, that's what they said.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't think they're gonna do that.
What do you think, Mike?
Depends on what we're gonna do with the 4 parcels above it. right?
Mhm. And
It's my
big-
understanding that she's not wanting to sell those parcels.
My biggest concern is the traffic. I mean, is the street gonna go from Nottingham all the way through? I mean, there's gonna be a considerable lot of traffic gonna go through possibly residential areas.
So
That's my biggest concern.
are we talking about AY or are we talking, okay, right now we're just talking about the rezone to get DOT's attention.
Okay.
So whether it be AY coming at the next part of this discussion or Super Target. That's a shout out to Lex.
Are we, going at this point?
No, we're just taking it from an A1 to a C1 to get DOT's attention to say, do you want to purchase this property now? And once we submit that letter with a site plan, it gives them 30 days to make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, we've had a lot of discussion just about that particular area with kind of access to the highway and knowing that, where would the appropriate place be if there were to be another diamond interchange like there is at Cottingham Highway 20 and also at Piasta Street? And there probably would make the most sense for that to happen if it ever did come to fruition. But I think it does.
Isn't it 2 miles? Got to be a 2 mile plus.
Yeah, it's got a mile, one
It's a mile.
each way.
And from our discussions today, I don't think that the state of Iowa has enough money to purchase those 4 parcels. So the reality of a diamond interchange ever coming to fruition is probably unlikely.
Mhm.
I do know that Andy Barnett, the state engineer, belongs to that office. He was talking today about a right turn only lane coming off of Thunder Hills. That is under design right now. I'm reaching out to him to try to get the plans on that. There was some discussion about not allowing anybody to turn left, but that really didn't go too far. But it's my understanding that a diamond interchange is not going to happen at that location. And unfortunately, the state DOT looks upon fatalities as the mark to do the diamond interchanges.
Well, and Cox Springs is a bad one too, really.
I think these are the only 2 left at grade roads in Dubuque County, possibly the state of Iowa.
Oh, no, there's some more out west. I'm kidding.
Notice I did say Dubuque County.
That's right. So,
Yeah, it makes an interesting situation here because of that. Kind of knowing, obviously there will be connectivity at some point, probably, from west to east. And how that looks and will that close off highway access at some point? I don't know. Because Cox Springs is a bad intersection and so is Thunder Hills already. So I don't.
Well, and it was Dubuque County's thought process, at least when I started here a year and a half ago, was to have a frontage road that would allow you to traffic through and not use Highway 20 and use those at-grade intersections. So this frontage road obviously would connect to Thunder Valley Drive and then take you all the way out to Cottingham. But that's for the next discussion.
yeah, but you're still, whether the next discussion or not, you're still gonna have to, if you're gonna zone this commercial, what's your traffic plan in those 4 lots, right? I mean, you'd still probably have to run. I don't know. I mean, you start thinking about how do people from Thunder Hill, those intersections are shut off. How do they get out?
Well, from the conversation today, Thunder Hills will not be shut off.
But that's some of the reason we're asking to rezone.
No, we are just asking to rezone to get the attention of DOT because they have designated that lower quadrant as a preservation corridor. And
Nothing
they,
to do with the diamond or the pole.
Well, it's to have them make up their mind if they want to purchase the property for a future.
Okay. Thoughts?
Just in the traffic, it'd be a bad thing. If there ain't a frontage road from Cox Springs to Cottingham,
I think you'd have to
be done.
you'd have to specify that or something, or you'd have to do contingent on that, or, I mean, you could do something like that, right? You know, you're gonna zone it, but I mean, at least if it got to Cottingham, it would be, there would be an outlet to,
I gotta say it clearly.
yes, yes.
And if that don't happen, everything eventually is gonna have to go through town.
And that's not.
Which is not,
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
And the semi going by the ball field, for instance, right? I mean, that's a possibility.
or straight through residential.
Sure, the city, for that kind of traffic either, I mean, as far as strength wise, the semis and everything else going. And that much extra traffic, something's gonna happen there too.
Well, I think the important thing here is to remember that we're looking at the rezone request for now. We're not to that discussion yet with AY. Regardless, if we go ahead and we rezone this to a C1, eventually those lots are going to develop. You are going to have traffic that is commercial.
Yeah,
Okay,
no matter what, right? You're gonna have traffic, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, I guess to step away from the AY McDonald, is this what we envision this part of Piasta become, or this section of land become? Right, I mean, I think that's a way to think about it.
Well, eventually it will, eventually, 10 years, 20 years, it's gonna be developed. The problem is we don't have a ironclad. What are we gonna do with the traffic?
What do you want there,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
You don't want houses right next to
No,
a factory either, you know.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what's there now, there's commercial property on the west side of those parcels, and then
Yep.
there's residential on the east side, so it's kind of, yeah. What makes the most sense, or how does that build out?
yep, right, that's all, yeah.
But I do think the roads and the connectivity is really
That's
important.
a big factor, I think.
But it is good that there's a diamond interchange off of Cottingham. I mean,
if the DOT does not go forward with it and we zone it commercial, would Piasta then be responsible for the frontage road? Is that,
I'm sorry, what?
would Piasta then do a frontage road? Is that the,
We can get into
Future
that,
plan.
right, we can get into this, the discussion with AY on that, but yeah, any of that frontage road that's built, it will be turned over and responsible to the city. Mhm.
then the DOT would be out?
If there's gonna be a road that goes here in front of us, I feel like whether it's gonna be commercial at some point, I mean, if that road's there, it's gonna have to be there pretty much. I guess I would be for going forward with it as C1, and if AY goes there, then it has to get rezoned again, but
so the documents it looked like there was an application for A1 to C1, but it looked like there was another one for. or maybe I missed that.
C1, C2, M2, or M1,
Yeah,
that was just, I corrected that by, it's a C1 request at this time.
okay. And so if AY did and I know I'm jumping ahead, if they did put in a proposal to develop there, they would not likely fall under C1.
No, they would fall under M2.
Okay, so rezoning it to commercial really is kind of, it's more for the DOT purposes.
It is.
So I don't have an issue with it moving forward.
Well, the order to the state's hands, I guess, that kind of purpose, but I guess in the way too.
I do think being along the highway there, it probably does make the most sense for it to be developed in commercial or something. At a residential, I know there's apartments next to it there, but you know, most residential is probably not gonna be along the highway, I wouldn't assume, but I know we have more development off of Vadrina for housing as well, but. So are you making a motion to?
Yeah, I'll make an approach or a motion to approve the rezone request.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next, we'll move on to the discussion, okay, Lab McDonald. So there was a PowerPoint that was shared, just kind of with a preliminary kind of overview of the company and what they may intend to do if they pursue the land purchase.
And I think at this point, hopefully everybody's had a point, or an opportunity to look through the PowerPoint. And we have representatives here from AY. We also have the property owners too. So if you have questions, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to answer them.
A question for whoever. Looking at the proposal, it looks like you're planning to build closer to Thunder Hills Road. If the idea is to have traffic go to Hot Springs, why would you not build that direct, closer to that side, just with traffic flow
Cottingham.
to Cottingham? Yeah, sorry.
Let me start, I'm Josh, I started to see the call of AY McDonald, I'm joined by tonight by Bob McDonald, who's our CEO of AY McDonald Industries, and Honey Foods, the president of AY McDonald Manufacturing, and Andy Shea, who is our manager of this large project for us. You can see the way. So, you know, I think as we looked at this, we're working with Pat Reedy, is also with us, just to look at what could fit on that, those parcels. I don't think it's a huge magic, it's where we're located, but that's kind of where we start, close to Thunder Hill Road. Seemed to make sense to us, we could, put it there and then work away from there if you want.
One of my questions, if that was more ideal overall layout, or if it would not work on the other end.
I think a little of the problem is there's a, Port Bob was actually aware of this as well, in the column, but this. And there's also a ravine that we'd have to navigate at the same time, so logically, posting. And first that ravine, if you will.
And then what would you do with the other park? Cause I think it's 100 acres or so. So this would be one small section. So what do you envision for the rest of it?
Well, at some point we could potentially add another, a factory, if you will. That's not anywhere we are right now. We fully intend to keep the property on Chaminade Road, working at a factory and move the foundry part of the business over to this location. But again, I think, you know, Rob, you know, family's been in this for 5 generations and the folks of the family is to be here forever. But that focus, we don't want to be constrained by land going forward.
Yeah, smart.
So that's what that 100 acres is for.
So if everything went through, would you plan to connect the road from Thunder Hills over to Cottingham, or if this section was developed first, you know, would there be a continuation of the traffic flow?
You know, I think that's what we talked a lot of different iterations today with the DOT. One of them being that road would go from Thunder Hill Road all the way over ultimately to Swiss Valley Road. You know, that'd be one logical way to approach it. Alternatively, we talked about too is, you know, they're gonna have a deceleration lane now, I understand, going on to the Thunder Hills Road. Maybe there's an acceleration lane that the trucks could go west from there. and go out to PS and take a, come back that way or just continue. There are a couple different alternatives at this point. I don't think it's resolved at this point. And I think you saw on the deck, we aren't anticipating a lot of truck traffic, 7 to 10 trucks a day, a maximum. In the foreseeable future, about 150 employees, spread over 2 10-hour shifts.
And again, the road that was put into the slide presentation, that was something that we had put together months ago, even before AY was interested in the property. The property owners wanted to know what a frontage road would look like. So this was put together. By no means would this be zoned as an R1. This is basically just for discussion at that time.
You don't see a utility requirement, the electrical, obviously, or all the furnaces are driven by electricity, but the water will be a closed loop system. The sewage will be the normal flow from the number of employees there, so it's not going to be heavy use of the sewage facility either.
If we're to build there, would it be possible that all semi-traffic would have to go east to get to the Cloverleaf of Swiss Valley to access both ways on and to the property? I mean, eliminate an accident gonna happen at the other intersections.
Yeah.
Even acceleration lane there's gonna be something to happen. Where Cloverleaf seems to be a little bit more.
Most of our discussion plans, they have focused on it going back east.
Mhm.
And that's what we've talked about. Again, it's still very, very preliminary at this point, but that's what we.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see what the state's gonna do if they put a Cloverleaf.
That'd be a big
That,
factor.
that's a huge factor.
You're thinking you pick 150 employees, 2 shifts, 75. You have 75 people trying to get out of there at one time.
Something's bad's gonna happen.
Well, you just put 2 roundabouts out on our, right, now that's more people, but. 3 o'clock's a pretty busy time
In general,
in general, school.
I mean, just think of schools, but all the manufacturing over here. That's also.
We have the same congestion problems out on Piasta Street.
That's what I'm saying, like, if that's an issue as well, that's, you want to create another.
Even in the mornings, unless I haven't been up there lately in the mornings, if the NICC was there, we could traffic back straight onto the highway almost.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
I mean, as long as they got some type of frontage road there and stuff, and then hopefully the state puts a Cloverleaf in. It'll be better for everybody. I know I live right down over here there and that Cloverleaf and Swiss Valley Road. So happy about it.
Oh, it's,
Yeah, unbelievable.
That's huge. When you give the DOT 30 days, do you also say that there's potential for manufacturing coming in?
Well, right now, the zoning is what the trigger is. So, if they decide to move here, then I'm sure that would be another factor that they would have to take into consideration. But right now, it's just the zoning change is what is needed to say, hey, if you guys are really serious about doing this, then here's your 30-day window.
For Andy, but the board, quite a while. Wrestling, well, you know, our timeframe is the outline here, likely continuing along, hopefully start. More such that we can actually plan money. January 26th. All the states needs and everything needs to move along. Reasonable rate.
You looked at other locations in Piasco or mainly this one?
We've looked at a lot of locations. I really have. We've, one of the requirements we had, I talked about earlier, looking for 100 acres.
Sure.
And trying to plan on 100 acres in Utah has been very difficult. So again, we talked about, we have one in Wisconsin that we looked at very seriously, and afford this a lot.
Is what's most attractive about coming to Augusta, kind of knowing that the general operation is from Chavanel, and would you have, I guess, looking at workforce and everything, it would, you know, I'm sure you've done studies and things like that to look at, you know, opportunities there, but I'm sure that's part of the decision maybe to come this way is to hopefully tap into some workforce.
Yeah, and maybe it's workforce, if you look at it, it's almost equidistant between the location that we were at least considering in Wisconsin this year. So it's kind of kind, but actually, if we, unless we see fewer license dies, it may be easier to go to Wisconsin. But again, we find jobs, you know, we find jobs very attractive.
Great. Well, we appreciate the discussion, and I don't have any
Yeah, this
other
is all well
questions.
done. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys considering Piasta as a potential landing ground too. I know we have a lot of questions. Yeah, I guess a company like AY McDonald's considering Piasta is a really nice thing too at the same time.
I would say I've been with the company for now, just starting 9 years, it's a remarkable growth. The family company, family that is. Really does look good.
Seven, but they're parked down by the Mississippi River for an example.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Really appreciate it.
We've got some of our city council here that have questions.
Oh,
Oh, this is not done.
efficiency.
I made sure it's legal.
Not with this, I guess not in the stuff right here.
Yeah, now
After that wonderful introduction.
all right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, any other items that we'd like to discuss tonight, or would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We'll close the organized meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
15 minutes is the best.